Hello, this is Nathan from Access, and I'm here with Rob.
Hello.
And we are very excited to be watching the latest trailer from the Spike VGA Awards of The Last of Us. Aren't we, Rob?
We are very excited. I can't wait for this game. It's my most anticipated game now.
It's one of the few things which has broken the cold exterior and made us sort of trembly about something. So we're going to go through the trailer now and just give you some thoughts, a bit of in-depth, I hate to say in-depth analysis, but we're going to tell you the things that we think. I think that's probably as much as I'd like to pitch it as. So we will be stopping it along the way.
Peggy 18.
Intelligent speculating, you would probably call it.
Yes, let's call it that.
What if it's true?
I'm going to stop it there, even though it's dark, Rob. I know we're early on. What if it's true? And the reason I'm going to stop it there is because it leads into what the rest of the trailer seems to be about. It's very much focused on Ellie, and so far everything we've seen about this world has been dark and sad, and it's been about the way that the horrible world of The Last of Us has forced together the characters of Ellie and Joel in a way which, again, this trailer sort of hints at, but what I'd like to just point out at the beginning is this voice, which is one of the new female characters. I'm not even sure which one. I think it's the black lady that you see in a moment. What if it's true is the note of hope. It's the first time that there's been any suggestion that there might be light at the end of the dark tunnel that is The Last of Us.
Or it could be something really bad. She's like, oh no, what if it's true?
Yeah, that's true. Or it could just be like some sporting results from the weekend.
Could be. Let's just play the video.
All right.
That's kind of like our first snapshot of the world pre-catastrophe, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, look, we're going to pause it again there. I mean, previously, I mean, we'll go back. We have the ability to go backwards, and as you said, it's only a tiny thing, but it's interesting in a game where you're so used to seeing everyone with beards and dust all over them, and they look really hungry and pale. And for once, in this tiny shot of some fire happening, you can tell that it's you can tell there that these people are clean.
We've got a man in a suit in the middle. What looks like a suit, a white shirt.
It's a work day. It's The Last of Us does actual now, before everything turns absolutely awful.
We're guessing it does.
We are guessing. We're speculating hugely, but at the same time, I guess you sort of imagine the scenarios that would lead to the situation that you've seen in the other trailers, and how can everyone turning into a fungus make the world end? And it sort of gives the idea that there were ramifications, violent ramifications to whatever power struggles and panic ensued after the initial infection. So this is, again, we are speculating, but we assume that this isn't. The lights are on. That was my thing. The electricity is running, which it isn't in the other world. And I like that in one of the windows there is a closing down sale sticker, Rob.
Is there? Where is that?
Symbolic.
Oh, yeah.
Closing sale.
You eagle-eyed observer.
Well, there is your in-depth analysis right there. The next thing, one of the things that we were talking about, the next one was just...
you what is out there.
He hints again, I really like how just cinematic... and it just sort of highlights, doing it in silhouettes, highlights the movement of the infected and the way that they just look like they're in agony all the time, the way they're contorted. But we're also talking about some of the locations that you see throughout the trailer. I understand we've barely let the trailer play so far, and this one being
a high school.
A high school, yeah, and other ones are coming up. What things may lurk in them lockers, Rob?
Dangerous mushrooms.
I dread to think.
Once upon a time, I had somebody that I cared about. And in this world, that sort of shit's good for one thing.
Bill is telling us a piece of potentially crucial character information.
That used to have an important person in his life.
And what happened?
Got her killed. Him killed. Maybe he.
Well, he seems to be alive, but...
Yeah, so it's got to be the person who was close to him, maybe.
But the idea, obviously, being that the game is focused on this relationship between two people, and in this post-apocalyptic scenario, caring about someone is not necessarily a good thing. What we're about to hear now, Bill is played by William L. Brown, who used to be in Deadwood. One of the best pieces of incidental music from Deadwood was Gustavo Santaolall's Iguazu, which used to play sometimes at moments of extreme drama. And Gustavo Santaolalla has also done the theme for The Last of Us, which is about to start in this trailer. See, I've prepared.
Very good.
Where's your facts?
I don't know any of that.
Yeah. Well, when I was at Naughty Dog for the unveiling of The Last of Us, you know how many times you heard this story, and it was the first time that they played Gustavo Santaolall's music, and it just on a serious note, he's an amazing person to have do the music. He's done the music for his stuff's been used in things like Deadwood, but he did music for Brokeback Mountain and Babel and just loads of really sad films. And hearing the music on this trailer, as it was in the first trailer, but you know, it's the perfect thing for this project. Why don't you say something next, Rob? I'm conscious that I've been talking a lot. You can even have charge of the spacebar.
Well, you seem to know a lot more about the history of all these musical composers than I. Okay, let's stop it there. I think this game's probably made by Naughty Dog.
Okay.
I need something smuggled
Okay,
out.
so here's this. We don't know the name of this woman yet, but
No.
she seems to be tasking Joel with smuggling something
Yes.
out of somewhere. My guess is that something is Ellie.
Well, because we know.
I think, yeah, we also have a...
Well, the previous thing that we know about Joel is that in other reveals, in other stages of previews, that they've revealed that he said himself that he's not always been a nice man, and they looked at the scavengers and the people who are the surviving humans who are doing unpleasant things to people, and he gave the impression to Ellie that maybe he'd been on both sides of the fence, I think is what he said, and so that maybe in this past, Joel is not the man that we know in the lovely Ellie hugging present.
A smuggler, maybe.
Yeah, potentially so.
City. Just cargo, Joel.
And this character here, this is Tess. This is a new character as well, who, from the trailer, it seems that she has some history with Joel. Maybe they used to...
Well, this is, I suspect, why Bill's quote has been pulled out, the one about caring about someone in the, we assume this is a flashback, but caring about someone in the past. Interesting as well, I was...
A flashback, what? Pre-catastrophe? It doesn't... It looks like a really catastrophic kitchen, doesn't it?
Pre-Ellie, though.
Pre-Ellie, yeah.
And Bill talking about caring about someone and having someone significant in his life, and that being a bad thing, might also relate to Joel in this instance with Tess. But also, does she say it's only cargo or she's only cargo? Should we listen to it one more time?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure she says it's only cargo.
Yeah, I think she might do too. But even so, the selection of the three... Well, there's three images here that play together. There is the lady asking Joel to carry something, and then you get her. We'll listen to it, and then you'll see what the next shot is.
The city. Just cargo, Joel.
I just want some simple gear enough to set me.
Then Joel riding along with Ellie as cargo on the back of a horse.
I know, like
So
she's just saddlebags or something.
So certainly, I think that what the trailer is suggesting is that was the origins of how Ellie came to be.
And perhaps Tess is saying, it's just cargo, trying to distance...
Dehumanise.
Yeah, dehumanise Ellie, and that ties in with the whole stop making relationships, don't make emotional attachments to people.
If everyone you knew had turned into a fungus, would you abandon everyone that you love?
If everyone I knew was turned into a fungus.
I guess that would make it easier. But if, say, I was a fungus,
yeah,
but your fiancée wasn't, would you ditch her at the first sign of trouble, or would you try and carry her through the wilderness?
Of course I would try and carry her through the wilderness.
Good.
What else would I have to do with my time if everyone else was a fungus?
This is Joel preparing for his trip. There is a gun on the table. This man we've not seen before either. I think he turns up in a minute on a horse.
Yeah.
So should we give him a name? No, we just look like idiots because I'll probably tell him the name in the press release because we're watching this before the official release of the trailer. So.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, just want to get that in there. Yes, so let's continue. In fact, Rob, please be in charge of the spacebar.
On my way.
I reckon it's got something to do with that girl.
It's got everything to do with that little girl.
Well, I think it's probably worth pausing there, Rob, because the music's getting very exciting. There's a view of the city. We're not clever enough to know what city it is.
It's probably, by the time you're watching this video, I imagine everyone knows what city it is.
But also the point there is made, well, there's just a few shots of someone looking at Ellie and a few people, unidentified guys in the background, who seem to be talking about Joel's endeavour, whatever he's doing, which hints at the importance of Ellie. The point that she's been matched up with Joel, that lady who's asked Joel to carry her through, there seems to be some, and with the note of, the what is it true line that I mentioned at the beginning, seems to be something we spoke about, whether it meant that Ellie holds the key somehow to, a cure, or, and you were saying that would sort of be disappointing in a way, because that would be leading the, explain what you...
Well, we
kind of
came up with the idea that maybe Ellie is, has something in her, some key to curing the cordyceps outbreak, and that's why Joel has been assigned to smuggle her out of this wherever they are.
In a way, weirdly picking over the story.
But it's like I would be disappointed if that was the case, because that's the kind of scenario in every post-apocalyptic.
It kind of is.
thriller ever, isn't it?
There's hardly any other way that you can solve it unless because fixing an actual world takes ages.
Maybe they don't fix it. I would really like it if The Last of Us just didn't end on a happy note. If it was just that's how the world is now.
Deal with it.
Deal with it. Yeah.
Deal with everyone is a mushroom. You brought us back.
Yeah, I brought us back to this shot here, the establishing shot of this city, just to highlight the quarantine sign, because initially I didn't realise there were so many survivors left, and it looks like the police, or the actual name of which we might find later on.
They look organised though, don't they?
It still has like an organised presence, a quarantine zone here, and if you look at the sign, it's encouraging people, or saying that deadly force will be used against you if you're have the disease. So.
Yes.
I'm guessing also there were different stages of the disease as well, because in a minute we're going to see some people. There we are, lined up on the pavement with these military police guys.
Do you think they're infected, or this is an interesting shot anyway? But do you think they're infected, or are they? Because what's that? You want to talk a little bit about what's on the garage?
Yeah, the graffiti on the kind of shutter there, rise, with a little symbol.
And what is the symbol?
I don't know what the symbol is.
It's some moth, surely.
It looks like a moth.
And then you think about
maybe it's
the original.
It could also be a mushroom.
The original idea for the cordyceps came from David Attenborough BBC Wildlife Programme, and it showed the cordyceps in ants, but it also showed it in moths and how
caterpillars. And
so I'm not suggesting that there's some insane sect. Well, maybe there is like an insane sect.
An insane
sect. So that could be a comic book character of a man who goes crazy and turns into a caterpillar.
That's a Spider-Man villain, isn't it?
An insane sect who are for some reason in favour of having their head cloven in two and looking like
maybe they released
popcorn.
The cordyceps virus deliberately.
That would be just like them, but no, it doesn't, because it looks like a resistance movement, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I guess the point is maybe these people. Certainly, it looks like there were different factions, and maybe you don't know if these people are they sort of bleeding from the eyes. Maybe that's a sign of infection, or whether they are part of the whatever resistance movement is hinted at by that graffiti. There's also this sign in the background which says "Report any and all suspicious activity." If you looked at all fungal,
but you get that kind of warning at the train station, don't you? I don't.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, but again, it suggests a heightened level of paranoia surrounding an infection.
Worsen in here. Can it?
We're shitty people, Joel. It's been that way for a long time.
No, we are survivors.
This is our chance.
It is over, Tess.
We're gonna pause it there.
That
was an intense exchange between Joel and Tess.
It seemed meaningful.
Clearly showing that they've got some kind of history.
And again, it's different without knowing exactly when this takes place. Whether he's met Ellie at this point, or I
think he has. His clothes look kind of tatty. He's got his backpack.
I don't know how many changes of clothes he's got though. But at the same time,
not many in post-apocalyptic.
Well, exactly. So he could be just wearing the. I'm not sure how much of a clue that is. My point was, I guess, like this seems to be that he's going to her and saying that this thing that we can do, or I don't know, or maybe she's saying there's like a junction point, like a decision that's being made. It's again about how he used to be perhaps not a very nice man. She says that they're shitty people. He's convinced himself it's all to do with surviving, and that's something which the cast of The Last of Us has spoken to us about the fact that Joel isn't necessarily a good guy, he's not necessarily a bad guy. He's a guy who wakes up every day and tries to end the day being alive, which is I think what I do, but in a very different way. And so this looks like sort of a crucial for how Joel got to be where he is now. But yeah, like I say, it's hard to know whether it's happening just before he goes on his little smuggling thing with Ellie, or maybe at some critical juncture within, when he has a decision to make after he's already begun that journey.
There's that character from earlier who had his back to us. He's now on a horse.
He looked very worried for a little minute in one of those incidental scenes. The way that we've paused this screen here, it looks like he's wearing one flipper, but I don't think he is. So that's not official analysis.
No.
Sorry.
And are those street lights on in the town below?
It looks like generators on watchtowers. But you're right. They are. The lights are on. Maybe my point earlier was it's just rubbish.
Maybe.
Or maybe the Naughty Dog artists are wrong.
Definitely the latter,
he said, grasping. Is that Ellie?
No.
She doesn't have a backpack.
Hairstyle. Wrong hairstyle. I think is it Tess?
I don't know. She looks more rangy and a bit taller than that, I thought.
It's definitely not Ellie. That's not Ellie.
That is.
Well,
wait,
the
wait.
lights clearly are
I
off.
might actually know where that is, Rob.
Where?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the old State House in Boston. And I only know that because I've been there this year for Assassin's Creed 3. I think so. And if it's not, then the way that the red brick sort of 19th century architecture or 17th century architecture...
You did guess at New England, didn't you?
I did earlier on, yeah, when we were trying to figure it out. And it's just struck me because I stood almost exactly there, and there is and you get these bigger office buildings,
Yeah.
new office buildings in the background.
Is there a kind of bar on the right-hand side?
There are lots of bars in Boston, and they're all Irish bars. Does that say Michael O'Flannery or something on top? No.
No.
Well,
It doesn't.
Still,
can't
but no,
tell
I
what it
do.
says.
But it looks like Boston, especially with the flags. So I would guess it's New England. So it
But
could
also,
be
it
East
looks
Coast.
like... I mean, we showed a clip at the beginning of how people were running away, kind of like in the pre-apocalyptic state. This building here looks like it's been derelict for quite some time.
That's true. Yeah,
with
yeah.
the ivy all over it. So
That's one of the things that the artists talk about, isn't it? How it's nice drawing a world in which nature has reclaimed things. A bit like it is the lead artist from Enslaved.
but also, how big a time frame is the narrative in The Last of Us gonna cover?
Oh, I see what you mean.
If we're
whether-
showing a
whether it-
pre-apocalyptic world before and now this, quite clearly. I don't know how long it takes ivy to grow that far.
I tell you what we do. We'll when we put this video up, we will put a picture of the building that I am talking about. I think it's the old State House. Might be. There is also a new State House.
Well, I really hope you're right.
And you can see that even if it isn't, I mean, I'm confident enough to say that even if it isn't the exact same building, that it looks so much like it that I would say it's been modelled on it.
What are you so afraid of?
You're treading on some mighty thin ice here.
It looks like their relationship is
Well,
getting stretched.
Yeah, it does. Again, different points of crisis and disagreement, and there's one obviously at the end, which is quite.
There's some hunters.
What do we do?
You make every shot count.
Now that we've got a... Let's just take a
you wanna go back
moment
a few-
to have a look at that blood splatter in midair there. But what we really want to focus on here is Joel's weapon, which at first might look just like any old sledgehammer. But if we pause it there, you can clearly see it is a lead pipe with a nail duct taped to the top.
Big peg.
Which not only is really quite horrific when it makes contact with that man's face, it also suggests that you will be able to customise your own weapons.
It does, yeah. Tape them together. Well, cause we watched this twice earlier, and the first time it's like, oh, he's really giving that man a good sock around the chops.
Yeah.
And then you watch it knowing that there's a big spike on it.
A big nail, and you
then
can
you
see
go,
the point of contact
that man
is the nail
that man
in the cheek.
He's dead now.
It's gone into the side of his face.
Yeah, that's the temple jaw area.
That's his hold of his side of his face.
That I don't like being hit with nails in. And then, yeah. And then
His head's probably gone. Like, his head is just hanging by a flap of skin, probably.
I would not. And then gas mask.
Oh, we've
There's
got
lots of things that we've missed there. So that, again, that's I don't know if the people who are affected with the cordyceps are whether they are susceptible to gas, whether there is like a pesticide.
Or maybe how does cordyceps spread? Is it airborne?
Yeah,
I
it
don't
is
know
airborne.
about cordyceps.
Yeah,
it
it
is.
is,
So
yeah.
maybe he's just gone into an area with
With an infection. Of course, that's why he'd be having a gas mask. Yeah, you're totally right.
And here we've got
Another lady.
what look obviously a lady on a kind of barrier.
An organised.
An organised barrier, and Ellie has obviously trespassed. If you look at the sign just below the lady with the gun, it says MSF, and what I think that says underneath is Military Safe Force,
Which is
which
grammatically
is an
questionable.
odd name.
Maybe we've read that first wrong.
Probably it definitely says Safe Force. I don't know if I'm reading military
Safe
correctly.
Force. Yes.
But anyway, it suggests that there are maybe a different faction. This doesn't look like the same kind of police
No.
quarantine faction from the
The
beginning.
faceless authority
Yeah.
figures. No, it doesn't.
I'm guessing this is some kind of other kind of faction that exists in the world.
You see, I believe everything happens for a reason.
That's Joel falling down an elevator shaft,
Which seems like some of the gameplay that maybe we saw at E3.
and now he's wrestling a man with
no
mushrooms
eyes.
growing out of his eyes.
The thing about, there's a brilliantly designed enemy. Not just like doing some justice to zombified figures again, but the way, like I was mentioning earlier on about how painful it looks and how the rictus in the limbs and the movement, but having your face just permanently exploded like that, it looks so awful
And the fact
painful.
that this actually exists in nature,
Yeah.
not to humans, not yet,
Not yet.
but insects and things, you actually can get infected with this fungus that actually... Weren't we at that thing at Eurogamer? That presentation by that biologist?
That was for Resident Evil 6, wasn't it? And he was talking about the different ways that parasites can affect human behaviour in real life zombification, and cordyceps was one of the things that he spoke about.
He did talk about the cordyceps.
He did, yeah.
How it kind of actually gets into the brain of these insects and actually
changes
alters their behaviour.
You don't have to do this. You know.
This is the clip from the
Little clip
teaser.
from the teaser, yeah.
And is that the man that he's getting weapons from at the very beginning?
I
And then
don't
he's on the
know.
horse? He's not wearing his flippers anymore.
That's what I was guessing.
And that is, I mean, it's difficult to see,
And
but that looks like Joel, right?
I'm assuming this is
Green
Joel.
cuff.
Green cuff,
Tiny bit of...
jeans, and
Oh no, that's a jacket though, man.
maybe it's not Joel. Maybe we're completely wrong.
Maybe that
But
is
that
why
little
he's not
tiny
with
bit
him
of
a bit later
that tiny
on.
little bit of hair there
I know,
looks like Joel.
it does.
Do this. You know that, right?
After all we've been through.
Oh! Initially I thought that might be like a tripwire, and then we rewound it.
Let's reround it. Is it a grenade? Is it a mine? It's
It's a nail
bomb.
Of course it is. And again, like the improvised nature of the weapons in The Last of Us, do you want to slowly frame forward so that people can see what happens when the nail bomb goes off? Especially to that man saying, watch the right hand, watch the right hand.
Off it comes.
And now it's on the other side of him. That is really unpleasant.
Leg's just gone.
And that's I think that was the shocking thing from the E3 presentation that Bruce Straley did on stage at the Sony conference.
Yeah.
Was that the violence has got that Coen Brothers quality to it, you know, like quick, unglamorous, fatal, decisive, just like
Completely
bang, it's happened.
unglamorized as well.
Yeah, it's horrible.
A massive contrast to Uncharted, where Nathan Drake will regularly murder wave upon wave upon wave of men, and then
It was quite charming though, isn't he?
do a little wisecrack.
And everything's forgotten.
And here, you know, every kill you do, even when it's against a horrible man with a mushroom growing out of his nose, it just looks awful. It makes you feel really
Everything
bad.
that I've done.
And this is the end. This
The
is
last shot there, Ellie, you know, amazing facial motion performance capture there. Look
Yeah.
how
Well, you were saying how they've
emotionally strange
changed
looks.
her figure's been evolving, and she looks more like the actress who plays Ashley Johnson,
Yeah.
who is in the Avengers, and lots of other things. And I think that, and we were talking about how that's a good thing. I mean, because Ashley Johnson is, I mean, she's brilliant, and it's nice that she's coming through a bit more. And it seems like you can see her performance more in her character this way
I
as
can
well.
definitely see Ashley Johnson's face there.
In the eyes and
Yeah.
the mouth. That is the end of the trailer.
It can't be for nothing.
It looks like, again, like the decisive point, like maybe Joel wants to go back, but Ellie's saying no,
Yeah.
we haven't got this far just to turn back. I am the cure to everything. If you enjoyed this video, or even if you didn't, then please go and watch the other stuff. We've got lots of other things on The Last of Us. You can see a behind the scenes at Naughty Dog, the developer of The Last of Us. You can see a video from when we spoke to Neil Druckmann and Bruce Straley, who are making the game when it was announced last year. We have more interviews with Naughty Dog from E3. We have interviews with Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson from Gamescom. So go and watch all those things now.
Yeah, they're all very amazing videos.
Thank you.
So definitely go and see them.
Bye.
Bye.